How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Ishake Adventures. Thank you guys all so much for watching last week's video. It really does mean a lot to me, especially after a really long wait. It's nice to know that we still have some supporters out there that like to see this content. This episode, we're going to be focusing on symbiotic relationships. So that is two organisms working together for the betterment of both of their survival. We're going to start with some of the more common ones and then get a little bit more complex as we go along. But first up, if you've seen Finding Nemo or have any marine biology background, you know about this one all too well. This is between clownfish and anemones. Now, both of these guys work together sort of as a tenant and a landlord. Now, the anemone is going to basically give shelter and a home base for the clownfish to call home, basically, so that it can raise its young, have a mate, and is basically like a landlord. It provides a house for the clownfish. Now, the clownfish has a mucus layer around it that is actually recognizable by the anemone. So once a clownfish comes in the anemone, it's gonna be like, oh, you're not a bad guy or anything like that. You actually belong here. Whereas the clownfish will protect the anemone from things such as butterfly fish or other fish that will often prey on anemones as food. So they both work together in protecting each other. This next symbiotic relationship is actually between cleaner organisms and potentially bigger organisms. The reason that I say organisms is that I've seen both cleaner fish and cleaner invertebrates, such as shrimp. A lot of shrimps will clean things such as like eels' teeth, and I've also seen fish clean pretty much everything when it comes to like turtles, sharks, even other smaller fish as well, such as tangs. Now, these cleaner fish will either pick off detritus, just literally clean off the bodies, but more importantly, they have smaller mouths and are able to fit through small little crevices, such as this cool stingray's siphon, to where it's able to eat little parasites, actually. Parasites are a big, obviously, pest when it comes to the ocean, and these bigger organisms just are not able to get them off without something smaller literally picking them off. So there are also cleaning stations that I've seen all over Australia, actually on a lot of our reefs, to where these turtles actually will come up and literally sit in the same spot, multiple different turtles by the way, and actually get cleaned off by a lot of other different cleaner organisms. Now, it doesn't have to be specifically a cleaner wrasse, such as like a tang can still come pick off algae off of a turtle shell, but it is important to know that there are such things as cleaner organisms that will help bigger organisms with their parasites, or even if it's just to clean off the turf algae or whatever it may be off of the bigger organism. Now, this next symbiotic relationship is honestly one of my favorite. Ever since back in my fish keeping days, I figured out what this was. I was like, I need 5 tanks dedicated just towards these two organisms because I thought it was that cool. Unfortunately, I never got to that stage, but I was able to capture some really cool footage of both of these organisms. And this symbiotic relationship is between a pistol shrimp and a goby. In the fish keeping community, we call it a watchman goby. Now, I want to talk about the shrimp a little bit more just because, in my opinion, it is one of the cooler of the two organisms that work together. But the pistol shrimp, they have two sets of claws, or not two sets, but two types of claws. They have a snapper and a pincer. Now, these pistol shrimp are pretty much blind. They are, they can barely see anything. In fact, I've read that they can also only see like 2 shades of color. But they will make these burrows that are also suitable for these watchman gobies. And they will use this snapper and pincer to sort of break up the rock and also push out the rubble in order to make a burrow. And both of these organisms will live inside of this burrow together. Now, the pistol shrimp gets its name with its snapper claw, which is the one that's a lot bigger. I don't know if you can see it that well in that video, but the snapper claw can create a cavitation bubble, and once it snaps in sort of a way of defense, it can reach 71 miles per hour, and underwater it creates this cavitation bubble, which creates a pop that equalizes to the heat of the sun. So I don't know, it's one of the things I'm actually scared of while diving, but it's kind of humbling and honestly really cool in my opinion as well. But the thing about the pistol shrimp is that they also have 2 antennae, and these antennae will sort of lay on the goby while the pistol shrimp, as you can see in the video, is digging out the burrow. The antenna will sort of lay on the goby because the goby, as you can also see in the video, will just sort of lay outside and literally just watch out for bigger organisms such as myself. You saw that one where it retreated back into the burrow. As soon as that watchman goby sees something suspicious, either a predator or bigger organism that's just scared, it shoots back into the burrow. The pistol shrimp senses that and also shoots back into the burrow. So the watchman goby just sort of looks out and is the eyes, whereas the pistol shrimp is the builder. So both work together. There's so many types of pistol shrimps that work with so many types of gobies in order to do this, and honestly just one of my favorite symbiotic relationships in the world. But let's go ahead and go on to the last and probably one of the most unexpected relationships that you would have expected. But there's actually a symbiotic relationship within coral. Now, I did go to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration for a little bit of help on this one, just because I didn't want to butcher this description, and this is probably the most important symbiotic relationship that I can possibly talk about, just because it is the entire reason for coral reefs, it is the entire reason for our oceans. It is so big, actually, and I just wanted to make sure that absolutely nothing is incorrect here. So go check out their website. I left it down in the bio and comment section below. They're doing great work with conservation and restoring the oceans as we know it. But without further ado, the symbiotic relationship within corals are that coral polyps, which are animals, and zooxanthellae, the specialized cells that live within them, have a mutualistic or symbiotic relationship. Coral polyps produce carbon dioxide and water as byproducts of cellular respiration. The zooxanthellae cells use the carbon dioxide and water to carry out photosynthesis. So all of the plants that are on land here, the same system, which is photosynthesis, is happening to all the corals that are down below the surface, which is just absolutely appalling to me when I first read this, and hopefully to some of you guys as well, that even though a blade of grass and a coral down below looks completely different, their biology and the processes that they use to survive are actually very similar. So sugars, lipids, or fats, and oxygen are some of the products of photosynthesis, which the zooxanthellae cells produce. The coral polyp then uses these products to grow and carry out cellular respiration. The tight recycling of products between the polyp cells and zooxanthellae is the driving force behind the growth and productivity of coral reefs. And then they have a little animation on there that shows how coral polyps and zooxanthellae are provided to each other for their mutual benefit. So I really recommend going and checking them out on their website. Again, I have that down in just the bio right down below. But if you guys have enjoyed this episode, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, then please give us a like, subscribe if you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys for next week's video.